Welcome back to Cafe Racer Garage. I am Dan, and one of the questions that I've had quite a lot whilst building this CB750 behind me is what gauges or clock or speedo that I'm going to put on this bike. I hadn't quite gotten to that point yet, but today you're just about to find out, so stay tuned. So I purchased this gauge quite a while ago. It's a GPS speedo, it's really cool. It's been customized to me, which I'll explain a bit further in the video, but I need to make a bracket. So there's nothing to it but to do it. Let's get into it. The bracket pretty much almost finished. I do need to still cut this off just here and drill 2 holes so I can mount it. It is handmade, so it's not perfect. At a later stage I may end up getting one laser cut out of aluminium and then anodized, but for now this will do the trick perfectly. I'm going to cut this off, as you can see that line just there. I'm going to cut it off with the 1mm cutting disc. This is a steel cutting disc. Now if you're ever going to cut aluminium on steel cutting discs, you can do it. You just have to use this wax. So you pretty much start the grinder and then just cut into this wax, which will allow you to cut the aluminium without it having to drag and get real messy. I'll leave a link actually to this wax that you can get on Amazon if you are looking at getting some. It's fairly inexpensive and it's just always good to have just for this sort of stuff. The bracket here I've put in place is the second bracket that I made. I actually didn't finish this for the first one. I cut the hole for the gauge and it just did not, it was a little bit too big. I wasn't really happy with it. So that was the one I did with the plasma cutting. So this bracket now has been cut by hand, and as you can see, I've just got a pair of vice grips holding it in place. It's actually vice gripped onto the steering stem stop just for now, because I had it, the initial plan was to have this piece here hard up against the underside of the top triple clamp and pretty much bolted into that. But unfortunately, when I put it in place, it was just sitting way too high. It just looked really out of place, looked silly. Like I said, in the position it's now, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm probably going to bend it down ever so slightly. Just keep in mind that this headlight isn't in its final spot. The headlight is actually going to be going back a little bit further than this, probably back, maybe about 25 millimeters, maybe, let's say an inch back further than where it is. The reason it's in that position now is because these brackets have the hole for the turn signals, whereas the other one didn't, so I just used them for now. So yeah, now what I've got to do is just finish off this bracket. So I'm going to make a piece that comes up and across. I know that focus is probably not the greatest. So yeah, a bracket that comes up and across so that I can still bolt it up under here. So yeah, let's do that and see what it looks like. How cool is this apron? This apron's made of denim, made by a company called Pando Moto. They've been around for quite a while. They actually make riding gear, really good quality riding gear. It's the kind of gear that you'd wear if you were going out. I've had a pair of their jeans for probably about 12 months now, a pair of their black jeans. I've now got a pair of their blue jeans and they are wicked. They've got a kind of stretch to them, so they're actually comfortable to wear. And they've got all the, obviously the protection stuff in them, like all the Kevlar. So if you're looking for riding gear, go and check them out. I'll leave a link in the description for them. I highly recommend their stuff. Yeah, I'm not too sure what happened on the first one. It just started to heat up real fast, so I might need to tweak my settings. As you can see, it's a little bit better here, but just a little bit of suck back there, and may have to fill that up a bit, but it doesn't really matter because all this is going to be hidden. And I may even just completely scrap this idea and make a stainless one, just to make it way stronger. This is just a bit of I guess a bit of fun to see if it'll work and if I like this style. I may even change this to a slightly different shape, the cutout, if I do a stainless one. But this will give it a bit of a test to see if it works and if I like it. Well, one thing's for sure, I definitely need to find more projects to do with you know, the aluminium TIG, because I need to brush up on my my TIG work right there. So after all that, I just realized that this side here is actually smaller than this side here. I only buy a fraction, but it's going to be enough to annoy the hell out of me. So I'm just going to do a slice through here, re-weld that, and then grind it all back all over again. It's about 1 mil or 1.5 mil difference, which doesn't sound like much, but I can see it, so it's going to drive me nuts. This is a 1 mil cutting disc on my grinder. So what I'm going to do is just pretty much just run that straight through there, and that'll be perfect. The heck? Oh, you idiot. Forgot to turn the gas on. Let's try that again, but this time with gas. As you can see, my logo is actually on the face of this inside the glass, and that's something that I have had custom made. I just wanted something a little bit different and to put my brand on this bike, and I think it looks really cool. And this is the cockpit area. Check that out. That looks really cool. I'm stoked. Leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts on whether you would do a dual or a single. It's just personal preference, I think, but I'd love to know, you know, what sort of ratio we have, how many people would go a single as opposed to a dual.